Have you ever really noticed the woman who lives alone? Not the one people imagine in sad movies, not the one endlessly scrolling on dating apps, not the one waiting by the phone and calling it love. I mean the woman who is truly calm. The woman with no partner, no boyfriend, no secret plan to find one soon. And here is the part that unsettles people most. She is not searching. She is not secretly hoping. She is not building her whole life around being chosen. The moment society sees her, it starts making excuses for her peace. People whisper that she must be lonely. They guess she was badly hurt. They assume she simply ran out of chances. They want her life to be an accident because if it is a choice, then everything they were taught starts to shake. And that is the real tension. Her life is not a tragedy. It is not some warning sign. It is a quiet rebellion. It is the slow, deliberate tearing down of every false story about what a woman is supposed to be. Since childhood, many women are taught that they are incomplete on their own, that they are waiting for the missing person who will make life real, that love from someone else is the final proof of worth. But when a woman chooses to live alone and live well, she is not getting lost. She is stepping out of confusion. She is walking out of the old fog. She is taking back the ground beneath her feet. Stay with me because this is where everything changes. What looks simple from the outside is often built on a kind of strength most people never develop. It is not loud. It is not flashy. But it is real. This path does not usually come with applause. It comes with strange looks. It comes with family dinners where people ask questions wrapped in fake concern. It comes with that soft tone people use when they think your life is missing something. But under all of that noise, something powerful is happening. A woman living peacefully on her own is learning to trust herself in a world that taught her not to. And that takes courage. Real courage. It takes courage to stop asking the outside world for permission and begin listening to your own inner voice. Many people misunderstand this woman. They call her cold. They call her distant. They call her hard to reach. But the truth is simpler. She is tired. She is deeply tired of giving everything and getting scraps back. She is tired of carrying whole relationships on her back while pretending it feels light. She is tired of being the one who remembers, who fixes, who softens, who understands, who forgives, who waits. For years, she may have poured herself into connections where she handled nearly all the emotional work and still ended up unseen. She may have been the warmth in rooms where nobody ever asked if she was freezing. After enough of that, something in her becomes clear. Her energy is precious. Her peace is not endless. Her heart is not public property. So she stops letting everyone take from her. She stops acting like a service station for people who arrive empty and leave full while she is left drained. She has not lost the ability to love. Not at all. She has simply learned that love should not mean self-erasure. She has raised her standards. She has changed the entry rules. And now effort matters. Integrity matters. Consistency matters. If that feels shocking to some people, maybe that says more about them than it does about her. The truth is, a woman who does not need a relationship to feel complete is deeply unsettling to a system built on dependence. So much of the world still pushes one message: you are not enough by yourself. Find someone. Attach yourself. Become useful to another life so your own feels valid. That message is repeated in subtle ways and obvious ways. In movies, in family pressure, in social media, in everyday conversation. So when a woman stands still and says, with full peace, I am already enough, she breaks something bigger than a stereotype. She breaks a control pattern. She exposes the lie that she must be saved, managed, claimed, or guided into wholeness. And once that lie breaks, it becomes much harder to manipulate her. You cannot easily control someone who is not afraid of being alone. You cannot threaten a woman with loneliness if solitude already feels like freedom to her. Listen closely because this matters. Many people are more comfortable around women who need something from them: protection, approval, money, direction, emotional structure. It gives them a role. It gives them power. But when they meet a woman who has already built those things inside her own life, the old script fails. Suddenly, they do not know what to offer except themselves, and that is where things get serious. She cannot be impressed by performance alone. She cannot be hooked by shallow promises. She cannot be led by fear. And for many people, that is deeply uncomfortable. Even other women may feel shaken by her presence, not because she is doing anything wrong, but because she reflects a question they may be avoiding. Am I with this person from love or from fear? Am I choosing or hiding? Her life asks hard questions without speaking. Her peace becomes proof. Her very existence becomes the message. This kind of freedom is not the perfect, polished freedom people post online. It is deeper than that. It is steady. It is quiet. It does not beg to be admired. It simply is. The woman who lives alone in peace has discovered that the most important relationship in her life is the one inside her own walls, the one between her mind and her heart when no one is watching. She does not treat her life like a waiting room. She does not act as if the real story starts when somebody enters. Her story is already happening. Her home is already full of meaning. And when someone does come near her world, they are not arriving to rescue a dull life. They are approaching a space that already has rhythm, order, memory, and care. Think about that image for a moment. The door is closed, yes, but not from fear, not from bitterness. It is closed with intention. It is closed because peace took time to build, and anything entering that space must respect it. When you walk into her home, what stands out first is not what is present, but what is absent. No tension in the air, no chaos placed there by someone careless, no emotional mess spread across every room. There may be silence, but it is not the silence of emptiness. It is the silence of safety. For many people, quiet feels threatening because once the noise fades, they must finally hear themselves. That is why so many keep filling their lives with distraction, with weak conversations, with forced romance, with noise for the sake of noise. But she stopped running from herself. She made her home a sacred place where breathing feels easy again. A place where she does not have to perform. A place where she does not have to explain every thought, soften every truth, or manage another person's fragile emotions. That kind of home is not loneliness. It is relief. It is earned. And once you know that feeling, you do not give it away cheaply. Of course, the world has names for a woman like this. People call her too picky, too proud, too difficult, too guarded, too much. But those labels usually tell you far more about the speaker than about the woman herself. A person uncomfortable with their own company often cannot understand someone who enjoys hers. So they assume she must be building walls out of pain. They assume her standards are some kind of defense. They assume her peace is fake because they have never tasted it for themselves. But they get it backward. She did not build a quiet life to punish the world. She built it to protect what is finally healing inside her. After years of being invaded by other people's drama, confusion, neediness, and expectations, she learned how to become the keeper of her own gate. That is not cruelty. That is wisdom. Somewhere along the way, she faced things many people spend a lifetime avoiding. Old wounds, attachment patterns, the habit of begging for crumbs and calling it love, the fear of abandonment, the ache of not feeling chosen. She looked at those shadows directly. She sat with them. She did not decorate them with pretty words. She did the hard work, and now her solitude is not an open wound. It is the sign of healing. It is the scar that says the cut is closed. Here is the twist people miss. This is not about becoming antisocial or shutting down emotionally. It is about becoming emotionally mature. To an immature eye, boundaries look harsh. Calm looks boring. Self-respect looks arrogant. A lack of urgency looks like failure. But the truth is the opposite. She is not refusing the world. She is refusing chaos. She is not giving up on love. She is giving up on confusion. She has outgrown the thrill that is really anxiety wearing perfume. She has outgrown the game of chasing attention and mistaking intensity for connection. That chapter is over. And once it closes for good. She is no longer moved by smooth words, pretty images, or carefully crafted charm. She is not impressed by surface chemistry that burns hot and leaves ashes behind. She has learned that what many people call a spark is often just nervous system panic wrapped in excitement. It feels dramatic. It feels magnetic. It feels like fate. But too often it is just old pain finding a familiar door. She knows that now. So she is not looking for someone to save her from her life, and she is definitely not searching for a project to fix. She has stepped out of the frantic rush to be with anyone at all, before time passes or silence gets too loud. Instead, she has entered a steadier power. She can sit with herself. She can build with herself. She can enjoy a full day without needing witness or applause. And because of that, she no longer accepts the old story that two broken halves must come together to create one complete life. She rejects that entirely. She is not a half. She never was. She is whole already. What she wants now is much rarer and much more honest. She wants reciprocity. She wants a connection where both people arrive with self-awareness, with accountability, with emotional depth, with the ability to give and receive without draining each other dry. She wants to stand beside someone, not under them, not above them, not dragging them, not carrying them, beside them. That is the difference. She does not want a person to fill empty spaces inside her. She wants someone who can meet her from their own fullness, someone who has also done the painful work of facing themselves, someone who knows that intimacy without truth becomes performance. Until that kind of connection appears, she is not restless. She is not panicking. She is content, really content. She knows the life she has created is already valuable, so any new person entering it must bring at least as much peace as the quiet she fought so hard to protect. If they do not, the answer is simple: no. And that no is not bitterness. It is self-respect in its clearest form. When you really look at this woman, you are not just seeing someone who lives alone. You are seeing someone who has chosen essence over performance. So many people move through life following a script written by fear, family pressure, social habit, and the need to look acceptable in public. They collect the approved milestones: relationship, engagement, marriage, public proof. But often they never stop to ask the most important question of all: does this life feel true to me? She asked it, and then she answered honestly. That is why her life has a different energy. She is evidence that deep happiness does not always need an audience. She does not need someone beside her to confirm that her weekend mattered. She does not need a partner to narrate her existence and make it look valid. Her joy is not content for display. It is private. It is rooted. It is the quiet conversation between her soul and her daily life. And when people tell her with a half smile that she is just too picky, she does not waste energy arguing. She already knows something they have not learned yet. What many people call picky is often just a person refusing to betray themselves anymore. It is not asking for perfection. It is asking for basics that should have been present all along: honesty, consistency, respect, emotional effort, clear intention. If those things are missing, she does not negotiate herself downward to make someone else comfortable. She does not shrink her standards to keep a weak connection alive. She does not sit at tables where dignity is not served. And that clarity changes every room she walks into. It reveals things. It strips the masks off people. Those who depend on female insecurity often feel uneasy around her because their usual methods stop working. Their charm lands flat. Their vague promises sound hollow. Their games lose power. And that is not because she became hard. It is because she became clear. Clarity is powerful, more powerful than most people realize. For some women, her freedom can feel just as uncomfortable. Not because she is attacking them, and not because she thinks she is better, but because her life quietly exposes what they may still be trapped in. When someone has spent years chasing approval, bending over backward to be wanted, trying to stay chosen at any cost, seeing a woman who no longer plays that game can feel like looking into a mirror that asks dangerous questions. What if I do not need to keep proving my worth? What if love should not cost this much? What if being alone is not the worst thing after all? Those questions can shake a person. That is why her mere presence can feel disruptive without her saying a single word. She is not trying to start a war. She is not building a brand around defiance. She is simply existing on her own terms. Yet in a world that still expects women to be small, agreeable, available, endlessly understanding, endlessly open, endlessly useful, the simple act of existing fully becomes a radical thing. She has stopped living only to please, stopped living only to maintain peace for others, stopped living only to fit into spaces too narrow for her real self. She lives now to inhabit her own life completely. That is what makes her powerful. That is what makes her dangerous to old systems. Not anger, not noise, freedom, real freedom. And that freedom has changed the way she understands love itself. If she is walking alone today, it is not because life forgot her. It is not because she is behind. It is not because she is secretly waiting in suspended animation for the right man to unlock her future. No. Every day she remains single can be an act of choice. Every weak offer she turns down is an act of honor toward herself. Every time she says no to a connection that would bring confusion instead of peace, she is practicing loyalty to her own soul. Do not miss that. It is one of the strongest things a person can do. She has learned, often through painful experience, that being alone is far better than feeling erased inside a relationship. She remembers what it feels like to sit right next to someone and still feel abandoned, to share space but not safety, to hear words but never feel truly met. That kind of loneliness is heavier than silence. That kind of emptiness is sharper than sleeping alone. She knows the trap of being lonely together, and once you have lived inside that kind of emotional absence, you stop romanticizing company for its own sake. So yes, her path has difficult nights. She is still human. There are evenings when memory arrives quietly. Moments when a voice, a touch, or an old version of hope moves through her mind like a ghost. There are hours when the house feels extra still and the ache of wanting closeness stirs again. But even then, she does not run back to what broke her. Even then, she does not betray herself for temporary comfort. That is the part people rarely understand. Strength is not the absence of longing. Strength is choosing your truth even while longing is present. She is open to love, but not to self-abandonment. She is available for connection, but not for confusion. She does not need a man to rescue her from her own life because she actually loves the life she has built. She does not wake up each day trying to escape herself. She is not looking for someone to patch empty places or repair pieces she believes are ruined. When love comes now, it will not arrive as a missing piece. It will arrive as an addition, a celebration, a meeting. Two complete lives choosing to walk together, not because either one is unfinished, but because shared beauty can still be beautiful when it is freely chosen. That is the standard now. Not rescue, not possession, not dependence, expansion, mutual growth, peace with depth. Nothing less. That means the kind of love she would welcome now is very different from the love she may have accepted in the past. She is not looking for a crutch. She is not waiting for someone to carry her across a life she cannot handle. She is looking for an equal, someone who can walk at her pace without trying to slow her down, control her path, or lean on her until she collapses. Someone who understands that love is not ownership. It is not absorption. It is not the disappearance of self. It is two people bringing their truth, their discipline, their tenderness, and their healed awareness into the same space without trying to consume each other. She wants a partner who has also gone inward, someone who knows their own patterns, someone who has faced their own darkness and taken responsibility for it. Someone who does not expect a woman to become therapist, mother, nurse, cheerleader, and emotional shelter all at once while asking for almost nothing in return. She is waiting for depth, not performance. Steadiness, not intensity. Character, not charm. And if that kind of person never arrives, she will still be all right. That is the freedom underneath everything. She no longer sees singleness as a delay. She sees it as a clean life, a clear space, a fully lived reality that does not need to apologize for existing. This is why her presence feels so different. She is not standing in lack. She is standing in fullness. She is not begging life to begin. She is already inside it. And maybe that is the part worth hearing again. She is already inside it. So many people waste years waiting to feel alive only after they are chosen, only after they are loved in the approved way, only after someone else points at them and says, "Now you matter." But she does not live that way anymore. She matters now. Her life matters now. Her joy matters now. Her peace matters now. And once a woman truly understands that, she becomes almost impossible to manipulate, because the greatest tool of control has already lost its grip. The fear of being alone is gone. Maybe that is why this story hits so hard for some people, because it is not only about a woman somewhere out there in a quiet apartment or a small house filled with peace. It is also about the part of you that is tired, the part that is done shrinking, the part that is exhausted from making yourself smaller so others can stay comfortable. The part that has bent your dreams, your voice, your boundaries, even your personality, just to fit into spaces that were never built with your soul in mind. If these words land heavily in your chest, there is a reason. Something inside you may already know the truth. You cannot keep abandoning yourself and still call it love. You cannot keep trading your peace for attention and expect your spirit not to protest. You cannot keep performing a version of yourself that pleases everyone else while the real you slowly disappears in the background. So do not just hear this and move on. Let it do something. Let it interrupt the old pattern. Let it ask harder questions. What would change if you stopped begging to be chosen and started choosing yourself with the same devotion? What would your life feel like if your home, your time, your body, your energy, and your heart were treated as sacred ground? Here is your wake-up line, so listen carefully. The first step toward the love you want is not finding another person. It is building a self you do not want to abandon. It is learning to enjoy your own silence. It is setting your standards so clearly that only what is true can stay. It is becoming so rooted in your own worth that anything false feels obvious the moment it enters the room. That is where the shift begins. Not outside you, inside you. And once that inner home is built, everything changes. The choices change. The company changes. The future changes. Even the way you love changes. So if there is a woman in your life who needs this reminder, pass it to her. Remind her that her power is not measured by who wants her, who texts her back, who commits to her, or who places a title on her life. Her power is revealed in who she becomes when she stops trying to be what everyone else expects. It appears when she stops chasing crumbs and starts honoring her hunger for something real. It grows when she chooses dignity over attention, peace over performance, truth over fantasy. And if that woman is you, then maybe this is not just a message. Maybe it is a turning point. Maybe it is time to rewrite the old story completely. Being whole is not a prize somebody hands you at the end of a relationship. It is not a destination you reach when another person finally arrives and says you are enough now. Wholeness is something you build within yourself, brick by brick, boundary by boundary, honest choice by honest choice. It is the home you create inside your own spirit. And from that place, love stops being a rescue mission and becomes what it was always meant to be. A meeting between two complete lives. Until then, there is no shame in walking alone. There is strength in it. There is wisdom in it. There is beauty in it. There is deep, unshakable dignity in a woman who can sit in a quiet room, hear her own thoughts, feel her own truth, and still call her life good. That woman is not missing out. She is waking up. She is no longer waiting at the edge of her life for someone else to begin it. She has stepped fully into her own story. And once she does that, the world can say whatever it wants. She already knows something more powerful than approval. She knows herself. And for the first time, that is more than enough.